stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America, to the republic. This is
Here.
here. Here. Here. Here. Thank you. This evening, we have a number of guests who are going to be making presentations. And first on the list is State Senator Devlin Robbins.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Jeff King. I'm the Chief of Staff for State Senator Devlin Robinson. Senator Robinson is on his way back in town. He'll be back in tomorrow. So, but we just wanted to come here and say congratulations on 200 years here in Franklin Park. To the board, to everybody who, all their hard work, a lot of times it goes unnoticed. Everything that you're doing in the community, it's a kudos to you, but also especially to the community members and the people that live there. You're really what make Franklin Park such a great place, and truly one of the best places in the state of Pennsylvania to live and raise families and be part of a community. So that's a testament to everybody in this room, everybody within the community. I know Senator Robinson is happy to be here alongside and work diligently with Representative Venkat, just having the best interests, really of everybody in here and work alongside these great people and everybody involved. So just a little appreciation from us on behalf of the Senate, just a citation congratulating everybody within the community for their bicentennial. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next is State Representative Arvind Venkat.
So I would just echo Jeff's comments. On behalf of the State House of Representatives, it's truly my privilege to present this citation to Franklin Park on the bicentennial of the borough. As a newly elected official, it's truly the privilege of a lifetime to represent Franklin Park in the State House. And as Jeff said, I think it's really a credit to the leadership, to the staff, and most importantly, to the residents of Franklin Park that makes it such a wonderful community. So on behalf of the State House of Representatives, it's my privilege to present this citation on the bicentennial of Franklin Park. So congratulations.
Thank you.
The politician without bearing money. It's my privilege, along with Senator Robinson, to present this check for $500,000 of the state grant that has been awarded to Franklin Park for a new facility in the borough. So congratulations on that as well. But don't cash this check. This
Thank you, Arvind. Thank you. Next, we have Representative Suzanne Filiaggi from our Allegheny County Council.
Hello, thank you. Yes, I am Suzanne Filiaggi, the Allegheny County Council representative for District 2. And I come here, I'm honored to celebrate and commemorate the Franklin Park Borough Bicentennial as both a council representative and as a resident. So I'm going to take a little license and a little more time than these two gentlemen. 1823, 200 years. As we know, Franklin Park was founded in August of 1823 after citizens in the northwest corner of Allegheny County were given permission to create their own municipality. This community, founded a mere 35 years after the founding of Allegheny County in 1788, took their name in honor of Benjamin Franklin, one of the most practical and thoughtful of our country's founders. A few Franklinisms can perhaps give us insight into the philosophy of Franklin Park's founders. Well done is better than well said. Haste makes waste. Don't put off tomorrow what you can do today. The only thing that is more expensive than education is ignorance. And beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship. These principles have clearly guided the leaders and citizens of Franklin Park then and now. I can say unequivocally that Franklin Park is one of the crown jewels of Allegheny County's 130 municipalities, being hosts and supporters of many great services, such as the North Allegheny School District, which is the largest and one of the highest performing suburban school districts in Allegheny County, Northland Library, which is one of the most utilized and technologically advanced libraries in the county system, and of course, its leadership, Franklin Park's leadership in emergency services. From a personal perspective, 200 years ago, none of my ancestors lived in America, let alone Franklin Park. I am third generation American, but my children who are here today represent the third generation of my family residing in Franklin Park. We have evolved with the borough and burst with pride like most of the people in this room who call Franklin Park their home. Thank you to all of you today here who serve the community and care for all of us. The thoughtful planning of you and your predecessors and your collaboration with our neighboring municipalities has resulted in Franklin Park being a destination community for families throughout the region, a community to which people aspire to live and work, and an inspiration and model for municipalities throughout the country. The Allegheny County Council proclamation that I have here today is a small token of recognition on this momentous occasion. Congratulations to all of you and community members. The legacy of 200 years is now in the books. Here is to the continued success and prosperity of Allegheny County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suzanne. Executive Director Chris Camp, Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs.
Mr. President, it's an honor to be here. Unfortunately, I don't have a check for $500,000. I also say Suzanne took all my speaking points. So Suzanne, I congratulate you for all that. But congratulations to the entire community, the council, all of your predecessors, mayor, any administration that make Franklin Park work. So I didn't want to read this into the record. I do have a plaque here for the borough, but congratulations. 200 years is just an exceptional accomplishment. And I just commend you all for your work. Award of recognition, PSAB honors Franklin Park Borough on the occasion of 200th anniversary as a borough in the county of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. PSAB extends best wishes for continued success and a prosperous future. Signed July 19, 2023 by our president, Stretch Reed. He's from Cameron County and he is our president. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have the recognition of Ava DiGiacomo, our outgoing junior council person.
All right, I'm getting a workout. Just a year ago today, I was here to honor your sister and I got the best thank you letter and it's still proudly sitting up on my desk, up on the wall. And I want to commend you for your accomplishment. I'm going to read this into the record as well. Distinguished Junior Council Person Award presented to Ava DiGiacomo for Franklin Borough Council. Congratulations on being recognized by the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs and Franklin Park as an exceptional youth leader. Your participation in borough government decision-making is very much appreciated and has positively impacted your community. The Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs is proud to acknowledge your dedication and encourage your continued growth as a local leader. And the council will verify that this plaque goes on your bedroom wall. So I would assure you that they do verify periodically. But your mother can certainly verify that. But I want to congratulate you, Ava, and I want to give this to you.
Thank you, Chris. Residents and taxpayers of the borough are permitted to comment on current matters of concern or agenda items which are before council this evening. If you would like to address council this evening, we ask that you please stand at the microphone, give your name, Call your last name and give your address so you will be properly identified for the minute record. Each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes. We have a list of folks who have requested to speak, and so we'll go by that list. And first on the list is George Shevchik.
Good evening. My name is George Shevchik, S as in Sam, H-E, V as in Victor, C-H-I-K. I live at 2509 Acorn Court, which is in a Ramblewood plan. My wife, Nicole, same last name and same address. We're here this evening to speak on behalf of my son, who is active military and is currently stationed at Fort Belvoir in Washington, D.C. Him and his wife, Alexandra, have bought a couple acres on Carriage Lane. And I have a letter that I'd like to read from them because they could not be here this evening. We recently purchased property on Carriage. It is our hope to return to Franklin Park, to raise our family and build our forever home after my husband has completed his years in the Army. As we visit the property more and begin bringing contractors to view it, we have discovered an extremely dangerous situation. There is a portion of Carriage Lane that is adjacent to Windsor Court and it is a complete drop-off, making the road dangerous to drive. After further research, we have found that the Willow Ridge development, and I noticed that you have some agenda items concerning the Willow Ridge development on your agenda this evening, was approved to build there with the stipulation that they preserve the Carriage Lane slope to a 4-to-1 ratio and include a drainage system. And you can refer to the Borough Franklin Park meeting minutes, August 21st, 2019. 4 years later, with all homes completed, slope is 1-to-1 with no drainage system in place. It has been made very clear that the plans that are approved by the Franklin Park are to be carried out as approved and not to be changed. We are asking that the Willow Ridge development be held to the plans that were submitted and approved in 2019. The council did not approve plans that made an existing road dangerous. They approved plans that allow Willow Ridge to be built while maintaining a safe road for the current residents of Carriage Lane. The council must now make sure the developer follows through with those plans and fix the 1-to-1 slope to a 4-to-1 slope. Both Alexandria and my son Joseph, a captain in the United States, a major, in the United States Army, would like to thank you for your consideration to this matter. Also, my wife and I, as residents of Franklin Park, once they return, will be visiting our grandchildren there quite often. And we would like this dangerous situation taken care of. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next on the list is Lynn Fletcher.
Hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Lynn Fletcher, F as in Frank, L-E-T as in Tom, C-H-E-R. I live at 2681 Hunters Point Drive, and that's Wexford, PA 15090 here in Franklin Park. I came this evening to bring to the council's attention a request to have a noise study done along 79. I've lived in that property for 11 years. And over those 11 years, the noise due to the increased population growth in this area and the continued growth has definitely increased. A number of trees, both on the state side and also on the Hunters Point side in that area, have fallen due to the age. They were original trees that were there since they grew many, many years ago. Hunters Point is going to replace some of the trees that have fallen on our side, but there's more that are going to continue to fall. And again, with the increased development of the northern area, 79 is busier and busier all the time. I have a beautiful deck. It's difficult to sit out on the back of it because of the noise from the roadway. Neighbors across the street whose decks are right almost adjacent to the highway, when they first moved there, could enjoy their deck, again, because it wasn't as noisy. This is a 40-year-old plan. It was built in 1985. So the people say, well, when you moved there, you knew it was noisy. As the years go by and as population increases in the northern area, it gets noisier and noisier. So we're requesting that our township ask the state, PennDOT, to perform a decibel study. And then in the hopes that a sound barrier wall could be put up that would be funded by the state and or the federal government very often. So that was why I'm here tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next is David Rupperberg. Actually, Lynn Fletcher, Susan, Steph, Chuck. Forgive me.
Hello, everyone. I'm Susan Stepchuk. Last name is spelled Stepchuk. I live at 2690 Hunters Point Drive, and that's Wexford 15090 in Franklin Park Borough. And I'm here basically to say a lot of the same things that Lynn brought forth tonight about the noise study, but also to say that, you know, we do have concerns because as people even sell their properties, a lot of the comments that are coming in from realtors are that people are saying how noisy it is. People are hesitant to purchase. So it's actually affecting the property values in that area. And as they work on 79, and we know they're in for a big construction in that area with the 910, they're going to widen it and there's going to be more traffic. The noise level is almost unbearable. To have, if you want to have your windows open, you cannot sleep at night. That's how loud it is. State Representative Venkat actually came and met with us and walked in the area. And there were several times where we were trying to talk and we had to both stop because we couldn't hear each other right out in the street because the noise level was that bad. So that's really all I have to add to what Lynn said. And we appreciate you taking a look at this. And if anyone has any questions or concerns, please feel free. Contact Lynn or I directly if you want to come down and hear it for yourself. It's very loud, and we feel a decibel level study would be the first step in possibly getting the state to do something. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Just by way of information, the council did discuss that issue this evening in its pre-meeting, and it is on the agenda for future discussions. You can see the minutes as they are published as to what considerations were. Next is David Ruppersberg. Okay, Tom Leahy, Leahy. DA? No. Ray Oderhorn.
Ray Oderholm, 2540 Countryside Lane, Franklin Park. In the audience with me tonight is Larry Kemp. He's the new pastor of Trinity Lutheran Church. He joined us in May. Pastor Kemp lives in Dormont, and he's here tonight because we keep telling him what a wonderful place Franklin Park is, and he wanted to see for himself, and you picked a good night. Each month at these council meetings, Mr. Myslinski presents the fire company report for the prior month. how many calls, how many volunteer hours, and so on. Mayor O'Keefe presents a similar report for the police department. Next month, one of the calls that Mr. Myslinski will read into the record will be for Trinity Lutheran Church. At about 8 p.m. on Saturday, July 1st, Fire Chief Chickotts and 4 or 5 other volunteer firemen responded to a fire alarm at Trinity's administration building. They came well prepared to handle any situation with full protective gear and a ladder truck. Fortunately, there was no fire. A section of the roof that was in the process of being replaced failed in the heavy rain that weekend. That caused an electrical short that set off the fire alarm. The firemen thoroughly checked the building to ensure there was no fire, and they could have left at that point. It was, after all, the weekend before a holiday, and I'm sure they all had busy schedules. But they didn't leave. Instead, they deactivated the faulty alarm. They cut off power to the affected area to lessen the possibility of other electrical shorts that may have resulted in a real fire. They moved all the furniture out of one room and covered the furniture in another room with tarps so the furniture wouldn't be ruined by rainwater. They cleaned up some of the mess created when saturated ceiling tiles collapsed, and they placed several large trash cans under the worst leaks to capture as much of the water as possible. These volunteers spent nearly an hour at the church, in addition to the time they spent apart from their families, preparing for the call and then putting away their gear. It's easy to take the fire company and police department for granted. I want you to know Trinity does not take them for granted. On behalf of the congregation, I express our gratitude for the members of Franklin Park Volunteer Fire Company Number 1. And I will present to the fire company a donation towards its fundraiser. Won't be as big as the check you got from the state. The reports that Mr. Myslinski and Mayor O'Keefe read into the record each month can seem like just a bunch of dry statistics, but they're a lot more than that. Every call, every response, every hour represents someone from this community taking the time and making the effort to help another member of this community who is in need. And for that, every resident of Franklin Park should be proud and grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is Len Bruckner.
My name is Leonard Bruckner, Bruckner, reside at 1528 Sandhurst Drive for about 50 years. Never in my life did I ever figure I'd have a cell phone tower in my front yard. I'd like to have my son read my letter. It would be easier for me if that's acceptable to you.
Sure, it's fine.
Good evening. My name is Mark Bruckner, and I was also have resided at Franklin Park for a number of years. And here is my dad's letter. We're here tonight because we oppose the placement of a communications tower on the Clover Hill Golf Course property. We understand that final decisions regarding the tower have not yet been made, but our purpose is to encourage council to look elsewhere for a location. The Clover Hill Golf Course is a beautiful green space that residents love, both for golf and its use as a park. It's really a feather in the hat of the borough, and its beauty should be jealously protected. And if the borough allows a massive steel tower to be placed on that land, its beauty will certainly be tarnished. Another step toward urbanization of a natural area, and it's an irreversible one. Also, that location is directly adjacent to residential neighborhoods. There are no commercial businesses or any highways nearby. Adjacent residents never intended to live next to even a storefront, let alone a 200-foot cellular tower. It would be a massive eyesore for those residents and dramatically decrease their property value. We understand the desire to increase coverage. We've read thoroughly the RJM study. The report says, quote, the two-way coverage status can be considered independently from the cellular coverage needs. So we'd like to discuss them separately here. The cell reception, which is primarily a convenience issue, and a two-way radio reception, which is exclusively a safety issue. Regarding the two-way radio reception, and I believe regarding the towers, that safety was the primary motivation for increasing increasing communications capabilities. Per the RGM study, a macro tower on Clover Hill provides most of its coverage to non-Franklin Park residents. Only 35% of the coverage from a macro tower on Clover Hill is within Franklin Park. The other 65% is outside Franklin Park. According to the report, even with a macro tower there, the smaller micro towers are still needed to complete the coverage. So put the tower there and we still have to have the micro towers in order to complete the objective. And that's alternative option. You can see whether it's alternative option A, they need the micro towers. With macro towers everywhere, you still need the micro towers. And sorry, I'm getting off track. There is a location that maximizes wireless coverage, and it covers 95% of the borough with one tower. It's near 5 Points. And we're curious as why there's been so much focus on Clover Hill instead of that location being the main focus when it covers 95% of the borough. In some of the poor areas, outside cell reception is available, but the signal decreases when heading indoors. And in that case, the issue is an ability to make a cell call from within a house in a poor area. And we were curious what percentage of residents are aware they can connect their cell phone to their home internet service to make a perfectly clear call. Because we found it surprising, but many of our neighbors weren't aware that this is possible. Connecting a cell phone over internet is simple, it's free, and an immediate solution to a lot of people's problems. We wonder how the borough can educate our residents to this option. Everyone has internet, so everyone could have phone service immediately. Lastly, the RJM study called the borough's overall service poor, but the question is poor compared to who?
Yeah.
Poor compared to a major metropolitan area?
Mr. Bruckner, yeah, your
Uh,
5 minutes are up, but if
that's
you
the
have it
case.
written, we can,
Yeah, it's
On
just
it.
basically one more paragraph.
I'm sorry, your time's up. We've got a number of other people here. still,
Understood.
so
Well, if written, would you
Yep.
like me to submit it?
Doesn't become part of the official minute records, but it has been submitted.
Thanks for your time.
Hazel Bruckner.
I'll be short. My name's Hazel Bruckner. I am at 1528 Sandhurst Drive. I just had to say pretty much what my husband said, my son said. We have lived here for 50 years. I can't believe it, but it has been the best 50 years of my life. And I think it is the prettiest place, and we've traveled many parts of this country. And I know that Franklin Park has a lot of beauty in it. So the concern with living near, and I I know that this cell tower is very important for our borough, and we know we need them. Placement of it is major, and I think that picking the right place is what really needs to be studied. The beauty of Clover Hill is so amazing. I am blessed to live there. And I really don't want to have a tower that close to my house because I'm right on Sandhurst. And it is a stone's throw from my house. So I'm hoping that you will come up with the best solution. I know you will. I know you will. But it is a great place to live. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Hazel. Okay, Mark Frankel.
My name is Mark Frankel, Frankel. I live at 2588 Rouse Ridge. I appreciate the council saying that they're studying the decibel sounds from 79. I appreciate what these ladies are saying. When we moved in approximately 9 years ago, we put extra windows in. We put sound windows in so that we could keep down some of the noise of 79. Hasn't worked. We don't enjoy our property. We can't use our deck. As these ladies have said, it's a big problem for us. Our property values, more important than that is the enjoyment of our property. So I would appreciate anything council can do to further the study that PennDOT should do to determine a sound wall for 79. Thank you.
Just a real quick clarification. Council hasn't agreed to a sound study. We've agreed to address the issue. And it has multifaceted. Correct. Let's see, and Jim Reed.
Hi, Council. Thanks for letting me be here tonight. I'm following up on what our first speaker talked, check. My name is Jim Reed and I live at 1625 Carriage Lane. I've lived there for about 12 years now. The bottom of our hill, the developers for Willow Ridge presented me with a 4-to-1 slope from the edge of Carriage Lane. Now, what they presented to the council, Mr. Schwartzman has a copy. It said a 4-to-1 slope. It's a different diagram than what was given to me. So I okayed 4-to-1 slope from the edge of Carriage Lane. What we ended up following up that was the August 21st meeting where the board approved 4-to-1 slope against Carriage Lane. But what we ended up with is a slope that's 1-to-1 on Carriage Lane. So I just want the board to take a look at that and not accept the Willow Ridge plan until this is rectified and made safe.
Wait. Sure. Are you a resident, sir? Are you a resident of Franklin Park? Okay, sure.
2 more items before I finish. Following up on the edge of Carriage Lane with this dangerous situation. In April 7th of 2016, there's a court order that requires a 3-to-1 slope from the edge of Carriage Lane. That's been established for safety reasons. If it's left with a 1-to-1 slope with an 8-foot drop, eventually it's going to erode. And then 5 or 6 years when the road's eroding, who's responsible for the maintenance on that? It has to be a 4-to-1 slope, or it has to have a retaining wall, or it has to have a guide rail. Something has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Andrew Rushenko. I reside at 1632 Carriage Lane, Wickley, PA 15143 and 412-367-7721. On August 21st, 2019, I appeared before council to present facts that the Willow Ridge Plan does not conform to Judge James' court order dated April 7, 2016. Judge James' court order stated that the slope against Carriage Lane must be a 3-to-1 slope. If you will notice on sheet 1, Judge James' court order. Mr. Scott Foreman appeared before council on behalf of FP Rochester LLC, representing the Willow Ridge development. He stated that they have changed from the 1.36 to a 1 slope against Carriage Lane to a 4-to-1 slope, so they can get approval for the plan. See sheet number 2 on there, please. They also agreed to address all conditions after approval. Council disregarded my concerns and voted to approve resolution number 1201-2019 for the Willow Ridge Plan into law. At present, the slope is approximately 1-to-1 slope, nowhere near the 4-to-1 slope. See sheet number 3, please. This deception is in violation of the borough law. Furthermore, Willow Ridge developer encroached and confiscated 8 feet of my property along the north side of my private road, hauling in tons of dirt fill with construction equipment to build a berm and a rock apron catch basin. Check sheet number 4, please. This encroachment and confiscation of my land has limited my right to full use of my property from the 20-foot wide road to a 12-foot wide road in that area. This limited use has devalued my property by thousands of dollars. Encroachment, confiscation, and trespassing onto private property without permission is illegal and in violation of the law. Violation of law may be a criminal act. If you would take notice on sheet number 4, where it's highlighted, that's the area that was constructed upon by the Willow Ridge developer. And also you can see the rock apron catch basin there where it protrudes all the way into my property, which allows me only 12 feet in that area on my property. When council made their decision to vote and approve the Willow Ridge plan for development, here's the amount of damage Willow Ridge developer caused to my property as a result of this decision. Excavation against the edge of my property created an 8-foot cliff drop-off, which is now a life-threatening situation. Encroachment onto private property. Hauling in tons of fill dirt onto my property. Excavation work on my property with heavy equipment. Construction of an 8-foot wide berm along and on the north side of my property, denying me the right of full use of a 20-foot wide road. Construction of an 8 feet long rock apron catch basin, again denying me the full use of my property. This caused the devaluation of my property by thousands of dollars, reducing my use to a 12-foot wide road in that area. Council approval of this Willow Ridge plan allowed the developer to move forward and proceed to trespass on my property, which is illegal and a violation of borough law. Again, violation of borough law may be a criminal act. Mr. Foreman, Representative FP Rochester LLC agreed to a 4-to-1 slope against Carriage Lane in resolution number 1201-2019. Council voted and approved the resolution based on this agreement. Not adhering to this resolution number 1201-2019 is a violation of borough law and may be a
Mr.
criminal act.
Shanko, time's up. 5 minutes.
So
Thank you, sir.
how can occupancy permit be issued to the
Mr.
owners of?
Hershenko, your 5 minutes are up.
Pardon me?
Your 5 minutes are up. You had 5 minutes.
I have the floor, please.
No, you have
I
5
have the
minutes. You
floor.
no longer do.
I have the
If you
floor.
have something in writing.
So how
share
can,
with this,
how can a occupancy permit be issued to the owners of dwelling on?
Mr. Hershenko, I
If
can
he
recess
removes me
this
from
meeting.
floor, Anybody has an iPad, would you please take photos of this?
It is being recorded right now, but
Completed. I'm
Then you
almost
can
finished.
give
I'll be
that
having
to-
2 more minutes.
no.
This is a legal problem that's created on my property, and I should have the right to speak. I have a
This is
civil right
public
to speak
comment.
here.
This is not public litigation.
All right.
So,
you're-
Mr.
Okay,
Hershenko,
you're
I'm going to tell you
limiting me,
again,
then
I'm
I
going to
want
tell
this
the chair
recorded.
that we will
Please.
recess the meeting. Already done.
Could do that.
If he's going to sit
Hold on,
down.
finish.
We understand the relationships.
I'm going to finish for him. Not adhering to this resolution number 1201-2019 is a violation of the borough law and may be a criminal act. So how can occupancy permits be issued to the owners of dwellings on lots 4 and 5 of the Willow Ridge plan when the lots do not conform to the 4-to-1 slope abutting Carriage Lane and are in violation of the resolution 1201-2019? Also, with the violation in progress, the owners of the dwellings may not have clean title to their properties. My suggestion to council is to table this motion until restitution is made for the damage to my property. The developer and property owners of Willow Ridge should agree to an amicable solution to resolve the dispute in the area of the 4-to-1 slope without encroaching onto private property and make it safe for people traveling on Carriage Lane. This would clean up the matter so that the property owners in Willow Ridge can have a clean title to their property. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the end of the requested. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
My name is Charles Horton, Horton. I live at 1654 Farmington Court. As background, we've heard this evening that the Borough Council plans to request proposals, to release a request for proposal for a consultant or consultants to write another request for proposal for a cell tower to be built, likely at the golf course. After 6 years of failed efforts to put a cell tower at the Clover Hill Golf Course, during which Borough Council abandoned the idea 3 separate times after the citizens of Franklin Park spoke out against it and in favor of common sense solutions, Borough Council unfortunately has yet to leave this idea behind. Now that the RJM study, for which the borough paid $24,000, has definitively established that the largest coverage problem by far is in the northwest corner of Franklin Park, far from the Clover Hill Golf Course, in a region of Franklin Park Borough whose coverage would not be enhanced by building a cell tower at the golf course. It's time for us to move on from the idea of putting a cell tower at the golf course. But since the council has not yet done so and is instead considering still allowing a 200-foot tall tower, the height of an 18-story building, to be placed close to our properties, I'd like to offer a few points that I do believe need to be part of the conversation. First, we heard about points that you would like consultants to consider. I did not hear mentioned among them protecting Franklin Park homes, families, or property values. I do not understand why this is not a pressing priority for you. I think it is very obvious how a 200-foot tall eyesore right next to my property would destroy its value. Let's look at this another way. At the pre-meeting, we had 16 minutes of discussion about the cell tower and the RFP for an RFP. There was much further discussion about whether to build a 4-mile long wall to reduce road noise in developments that are close to I-79. This juxtaposition makes me ask, when Franklin Park is considering spending so much money on the order per PennDOT estimate that you shared of $10 million to protect some homes, if you would also put some effort in to protect other homes like ours. We know from McCandless that whatever the cell tower companies say, they actually will build the small towers that provide coverage without a giant eyesore if told that they need to by a municipality. But they do want to save money for the boss, like any company. They're waiting for clarity from Franklin Park about whether they need to do it the right way or whether you're willing to settle for the cheap way. Towards that end, I formally asked Borough Council to release its current draft of the request for proposal this evening so that we, the citizens of Franklin Park, can contribute to that discussion. We are paying for it, and we will live with its consequences. I do not see any good and praiseworthy reason not to let us know what you are asking these companies to propose and not to see whether protecting our properties and our families and our property values is in fact something that you are even asking these companies to consider. So Borough Council, please release to us, the citizens of Franklin Park, the request for a proposal. While you are at it, I would ask that you widely share the RJM study's results. I remain unaware of any simple and easy way for the citizens of Franklin Park to find it on the website. We had brought this up at the March Borough Council meeting. That is 4 months ago. Yet I am not aware, despite promises of at least one council member, that has been addressed.
The RJM proposal is on the web.
It is technically on the website. However, you must specifically enter it into the search bar. There are easy links to follow for things that Borough Council would like us to know. When you mean to honor somebody, you don't hide that on the Borough website such that one must specifically type in the name, say, of the person you would like to honor. You place it prominently. I ask that you place the RJM study's results with the same prominence. Will you commit to doing that?
No, sir.
Why not?
You don't design a webpage in public comment.
Also, Mr. Ebner, if you could address the RFP for an RFP.
Yeah,
Inaccuracy.
it's an RFP for a consultant to help us determine what the infrastructure would be. It's not an RFP for an RFP. So I'm not sure where that came from.
And in terms of the Northwest being the perfect place, Northwest has the lowest population density in the entire borough, whereas the area that we're talking about has the highest density in the borough. So that's a big difference.
Okay. Moving on. As an alternative, written comments can be submitted to our public email address. And there was one comment submitted in regards to Garrick Lane, and it's already been read, so we won't further address it. Monthly report, the minutes of the June 21st, 2023 pre-meeting and the June 21st, 2023 regular meeting and the July 5th, 2023 work session minute were given to the mayor and council. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none.
Move the minutes of the June 21st, 2023 pre-meeting, the June 21st, 2023 regular meeting, and the July 5th, 2023 work session be approved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's financial report, Mrs. Crane.
Thank you, Mr. President. General fund revenues for the month of June totaled $1,825,940. Year-to-date total revenue through June 30, revenues are $5,591,402. Represents about 50% of the 2023 total budget. Conversely, expenditures for the month of June totaled $1,222,857. Year-to-date total expenditures through June 30 were $4,745,048. Represents about 36% of the 2023 total budget. That concludes my treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mrs. Crane.
The June Treasurer's financial report be accepted as read.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Police report, Mayor O'Keefe.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. For June, Franklin Park Police serviced 530 calls, resulting in 4 arrests, 2 disorderly conduct, and 2 retail theft. 58 citations were issued and 180 warnings. There was no special response team duty. And public relations, we participated in our wonderful festival in the park. It was so successful. And it was a big success. And Officer Smith was able to have a mounted unit from the Allegheny County Police bring their force to the festival. And we also had the North Hills Special Response Team's MRAP on display, along with one of our patrol units for residents to tour. And Swickley Borough also sent an officer to participate in color with a cop program. Officers colored badges with kids as well as tickets. It was a great success with the kids, and we had lots of prizes and giveaway items. Officers participating this year were Blakely, Smith, Dunn, Dangler, Starco, Simon, and Lieutenant Snyder. And in addition, Officers Blakely and Starco received a thank you from a resident for their assistance in a domestic situation. That completes the police report, Mr. President.
Recommend the police report be filed with the police secretary.
Fire report, Mr. Mazinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. The fire company responded to 21 fire calls in the month of June, 5 vehicle accidents, 5 dispatched and canceled en route, 4 fire alarm system activations, 2 brush or mulch fire, 2 power lines down, 1 natural gas leak, one good intent call, and 1 false alarm. The fire company assisted other fire companies twice and was assisted by other fire companies once. Year-to-date fire calls are 132. Volunteer man hours for the month of June were 510, and volunteer man hours year-to-date were 2,914. End of report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mazinski. Mayor O'Keefe, I know you wanted to add something to that report.
Yes, I do. I want to share an email that I received this morning that it was complimenting our fire and police on a recent incident that occurred in Settlers Walk. And it reads, "Good morning, Mayor O'Keefe. My friend and I were returning from a golf outing on Monday afternoon, and we saw black smoke coming from our neighborhood, Settlers Walk. I was on Rochester Road, and it looked like a home was burning. We turned into Holmes Drive and saw a mail truck on fire with Fire Chief Bill Shakotz securing the scene by pinning his truck behind the vehicle to prevent it from drifting into a home. This fire could have been much worse if not for his quick thinking. The person driving the vehicle got out safely and was comforted by my friend and a neighbor. Franklin Park Fire and police arrived on the scene moments later and did an outstanding job getting the vehicle fire under control and extinguish it in a very safe manner. I just wanted to thank our fire chief for his team of volunteer firefighters, along with the fire police and Franklin Park Police for a job well done." And my thanks always go out to the fire company and to the police for serving and protecting. They just do it in such an exceptional manner. And we get so many comments on the great service that they provide, keeping Franklin Park safe. And that's it, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor O'Keefe. Now, building inspectors report, Mr. Phillips.
Mr. President, construction report for June 2023. 21 permits were issued for one single family dwelling, 2 additions, 3 decks, 2 swimming pools, shed, commercial occupancy. Demolition permits, 8 maintenance permits. Total value of construction for the month was $1,989,183. Total fees collected. $700.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Borough Council held an executive session on July 5th, 2023 to discuss personnel and a potential property acquisition. No old business, new business. We have the first motion.
Move council authorize the payment of the bills which have been reviewed and approved since the last meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Yunker, could you summarize ordinance number 678-2023?
Certainly, this is ordinance number 678 of 2023. It is an ordinance of the Borough of Franklin Park, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, accepting and adopting Windsor Court and all other public infrastructure as identified in the final site recording plan for the Willow Ridge residential development as the same are laid out and constructed and recorded in the Department of Real Estate, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, in Plan Book Volume 304, page 151. As borough facilities, including but not limited to curbs and surface water drainage facilities abutting thereon, empowering and directing the proper officers of Borough Council to enter into a maintenance agreement with the developer, providing that the developer shall and will maintain aforesaid improvements for a period of 18 months against defective workmanship and material in said plan, requiring the developer to reimburse the borough's expenses and provide a financial security to secure its obligations under said maintenance agreement. This has been advertised for potential action this evening and in accordance with the Borough Code, been provided by personal service to the residents along Willow Ridge.
Thank you, Mr. Yunker. We have someone read the motion, please.
I'll read the motion. Move to enact ordinance number 678-2023, accepting and adopting as the Borough Street, Windsor Court, and all appendages, excuse me, in the Willow Ridge plan of lots.
Second.
Any discussion? None. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move subdivision performance bond number 800036016 in the amended amount of $1,870 for the Willow Ridge plan be reduced by $1,870, leaving a balance of $0 and canceled in accordance with the letter from Lennon Smith Silray Engineering, Inc. dated May 3rd, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Will the treasurer's office be authorized to prepare a check in the amount of $90,784.75 payable to Northland Library for the third quarter for payment of 2023?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move Northwest Bank letter of credit number 830-500-4940 issued in the original amount of $663,350 for the Black Oak Investment Office Building be reduced by $23,410, leaving balance of $639,940 in accordance with a letter from Lennon Smith Silray Engineering Incorporated dated July 12th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Oh, yeah, Mac, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Just waiting for my cue. The next motion is joint resolution number 1335 of 2023. It is a joint resolution of the Borough Council of the Borough of Franklin Park, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, and the Borough of Franklin Park Civil Service Commission approving the Civil Service Commission's amendments to its rules and regulations. This has been recommended for approval and approved by the Borough Civil Service Commission at their meeting of July 10th.
Move to adopt resolution number 1335 of 2022, a joint resolution of the Borough Council and the Civil Service Commission, approving the Civil Service Commission's amendments to its rules and regulations.
Second.
Any discussion?
One second. There does seem to be a difference in resolution numbers there. The top says 2023 and the second says 2023.
2023.
That's okay. Do I need to reread it or are we okay?
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, it's
Correction?
23, correct.
Be amended.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move to authorize a new set aside agreement for the increased security in the amount of $622,634 required for the first addendum to development agreement for the Deerfield Estates plan of lots number 1.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move to enter into a design contract with American Ramp Company of Joplin, Missouri for professional design services to design a custom pump track in the Acorn Park at a cost of $5,000.
Second.
I hear a second.
Dr. Lee. Yeah.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move to enter into a build agreement with American Ramp Company of Joplin, Missouri for the construction of the Acorn Park stabilized pump track at a cost of $75,000 through Sourcewell National Contract number 112420-ARC.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move to authorize the purchase of the Acorn Park nature playground family play and park structure of the Pittsburgh, PA at a cost of $159,276.68 on the CoStar's contract number 014-E 22-291.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move to approve change order number 1 for the contract number 23-R01 curb and gutter replacement program for 2024 road paving program to include add alternate number 1 and number 2 Summerfield sidewalks to the contract, with the exception of sidewalks along the frontage of 2521 and 2523 Brant School Road, and to increase the contract amount from $187,500 to $248,150.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mayor O'Keefe, I think you had one more presentation.
Yes.
to make.
I do, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm speaking also on behalf of all of us, council, myself. We want to thank Ava, for her devoted participation and attention to the office of junior counsel. And she's been very busy, and she's also been a great help to us. And it's been a real pleasure having her sit on the board. And this is basically her last official meeting. But, I just want to give you a little background of what she's working on currently, because it's pretty impressive. She's developing or has developed. It's already pretty much put together. And it's a program entitled, "Why is Civic Responsibility Important?" And through this program, she will accomplish three main purposes. One, strengthening the relationship between government and citizens, and deepen appreciation and understanding for the community and its leaders. And also preparation for future responsibilities and decisions. So this is Ava's last official meeting here, sitting with us tonight. But she continues on. So Ava, we're happy you've been with us for a year. You've been a great asset to us, and thank you. So now we're gonna go for a little walk.
Thank you, Mayor. Now we turn to comments. Mr. Ebner,
No further comment.
Mr. Junker.
Yes, just briefly, congratulations, Ava. Congratulations to the borough on all the awards and hardware you picked up at the beginning of the meeting. I did want to address, I see Mr. Oshenko has left, but I see Mr. Reed is still here, and the in-laws or so are here as well. I cannot summarize or address 25 years of litigation here tonight in my limited amount of time, so I'm not going to try to go back to 1997, but the dispute over Carriage Lane and Franklin Nursery. Can say, I think at my first meeting in 2007, the issue with Carriage Lane over trimming bushes and scratching cars was a matter of public discussion and public comment. But I can tell council that the plan as accepted tonight by the ordinance was consistent with the resolution that was passed approving the plan. The work that was set forth in the plan was shown inside the right-of-way of Carriage Lane. However, Mr. Oshenko, as well as other residents, would not allow that work to occur. They also turned down the developer's offer to install a guide rail within the right-of-way of Carriage Lane as a proposed solution. The work does not violate any court order. The April 7th court order was a temporary court order that was entered at the close of a day of testimony where Mr. Phillips and I attended. It was supplanted and replaced by a final decree that was issued by Judge James later on the 3rd day of January 2017, including his findings of facts and conclusions of law, not the proposed findings of facts that have been presented as being a basis for this dispute. There is no mention of a slope in this final order. The steps that needed to be taken at that time was that the undercut portion of Carriage Lane will be restored by the greasers at that time within 60 days to a grade no more than 3-1 by the defendants. That was because they had begun to excavate right up to the gravel portion. This final order also established that the right-of-way for Carriage Lane is only 20 feet, not 50 feet, with 15 feet on each side, as well as established that the greasers had a prescriptive easement onto parcel B for residential uses. There was no requirement or no ability to compel the developer to perform work that was off-site on other property, which they did not have the permission of those owners. And they needed everybody's permission, not just Mr. Hershenko, not just Mr. Reed. And that was the option that was given to them. That did not come to fruition. It moved forward to the acceptance ordinance that we passed this evening. Any claims for damages by Mr. Hershenko, as he's mentioned here, are not the borough's responsibility. That is a private matter for him and the developer, if that is his belief that there were damages. That is what I wanted to add to the record for the purposes of the meeting minutes, because I know the meeting minutes have been thrown back at you from time to time, and I know we have a number of members of the public who are here earlier or listening online and only heard half of the story.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you.
Can I respond to that?
No,
I cannot respond to that.
not at this time. You can
Very,
sit
very,
down.
very little of
Sir.
that was accurate.
No, that was 100% accurate. You have an opportunity for public comments once we go through everybody else.
That was after the fact. I
Sit
want to
down.
respond to your response.
You can do it. I don't understand why, I mean, it's been 25 years. And the residents of Carriage
It
Lane
took
always
a-
thinks the
It
rules
took
don't
a
apply
lot
to
of
you.
money to have that lawsuit filed, and Judge James ruled a 3-1 slope runs with the land.
No, he did not.
The builder gave me designs that's different than what he gave Mr. Schwartzmeister.
All right, I'm going to repeat again. We're not going to have you escorted out or anything like that, but we will recess the meeting. We'll have you stand down when we could come back and finish the agenda. We'll open it up for public comment, but we're not going to have this debate right now.
I wish I would have known you were going to say that, so I would have been able to address the inaccuracies of your comments.
Yeah. Well, we have, the next item is the comments coming from the mayor. Thank you, Ken Snyder.
Mayor O'Keefe.
No additional comments, Mr. President.
Mr. Powell,
No comments, Mr. President.
Mr. Malcolm,
Congratulations, Ava. Great job.
Mr. Mizunsky.
I'd like to congratulate Ava and say how much we're certainly going to miss her and also miss having a DiGiacomo up here with us for sure. We miss Jackie all the time as well. And I also wanted to congratulate Zach, Donna, and the Parks staff on an amazing festival. Anyone that was there certainly can attest to how great it was, how full it was, and they do excellent work. They also have the scholarship golf outing coming up in a few days. If you can possibly make it, or even make it for lunch. I think there's still some room. I will be out of town, unfortunately, so I'll miss it, but I know they'd love to see you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee.
Eva, it's so great to see you like for almost 1 year, right? More than 1 year. It's my pleasure to work with you. And you just sit, beside me. And so when I always look at my right side and I always see you there, it's great. And we'll miss you. Thank you.
Ava, your final chance.
Serving as a junior council person was an honor and a blessing. So thank you.
Thank you, Ava.
You passed me up.
Tom, Mr. Schwartzmeyer. I did.
I also wanted to basically thank Ava for what she's done and her sister Jackie as well. I think some people know that I worked with Art DiGiacomo. Is he your uncle, an uncle? At UPMC for about 10 years. So I knew Art very well. Very, very fine project manager. I know he started as a carpenter and was a very, very competent, pleasurable person to work with. We even had a few socials. The group would go out for, believe it or not, a beer maybe after work once or twice a year. Art was always fun and I enjoyed working with him. And my comment though to Ava and Jackie is I feel really encouraged that we're headed in the right direction when I see two young ladies like these two. They're fine, outstanding citizens. They're fine, outstanding students. And the things they've done for this community and this to assist council and bring information back and forth. They've been a huge help. I know Jackie with the garden last year and Ava with her initiatives. I think we're going to hear more about that later this evening about your presentation. So I just really wanted to thank them both. And I'm going to miss not having the Giacomo up here next year. Sure.
Thank you, Tom. I'm sorry I missed you.
No, it's okay.
Borough engineers.
No further comment, Mr. President. Thank you.
Lieutenant Snyder. Mr. Buchanan.
Thanks, Ava, for your time on council.
Mr. Phillips. Brower. No. Mrs. Crane. Thank you. I would like to add to my congratulations to both Ava and Jackie. It's been an absolute delight working with you. And best of luck for your future. I'm sure it'll be a great one. As always, we offer once again public comments. If anybody would like to comment, please stand up, give your name, address.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mr. Parts. The inaccuracies, Mr. Yunker. Developer met with me because he knew the concern about Carriage Lane. I live there. My daughter and grandchildren are going to live there. My son-in-law is going to live there. This is a huge hazard. It's an 8-foot drop from the edge of our road. The diagram the builder gave me shows a 4-to-1 slope from the edge of the property line, which is great. I met with him and I thought, man, that's really generous because the judge said 3-to-1. We'll do one better, 4-to-1. Who's not going to agree to that? What he gave to Mr. Schwartzmeyer, we met in my office and he showed me his copy and it was totally different. It was taking up 8 feet of my property, my private property. Now, how would you feel if somebody came in and took up 8 to 9 feet of your property? And then you met at council and you said, and they told you there's nothing we can do about it. No, but none of your property has been taken. My property has been taken. Well, it hasn't been taken, but there's a cliff at the edge of the road. The property line ends, and the excavator came within a half an inch of the property line. That's a hazard. You come down an icy hill, if a car goes off that, you're going to flip. It's going to be dangerous. I don't understand how council can turn a blind eye to that. Also, the builder never offered to put a guide rail. When I asked him to put together a drawing so I could present it to the neighbors, it was silent. He never got back to me. There was one guy on the road with a backhoe, and I stopped him. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm supposed to put a foot of dirt here." That's builder's game plan, a foot of dirt. There was no 4-to-1 slope. There was no guide rail. Everybody, there's some miscommunication here. How can this be? My grandkids have to travel this road. Icy conditions, the car's going to flip. I'm in the insurance business. It's all about risk management. This is a huge hazard. And you're all saying okay to it. Not only that, there's going to be erosion. You have a 1-to-1 slope. You're 8 feet high. There's already rainwater coming down. When the road is washed away, who's going to pay for it? We'll come to council and you'll say it's a private road. We have nothing to do with it. But yet you made decisions to cause this problem. So you can build, you can excavate right up to somebody's property and do an 8-foot drop. Is that accurate? A developer can come right up to private property from here down to here, and there's no concern. I think council was confused, just as I was misled, by what the builder said he was going to do. He didn't do it. There's nothing.
Once again, this is public comment, not public debate.
Okay. I'm just saying you created a hazard for families. I don't understand how a council that protects its citizens can have that exposure. It's not a matter of when it happens or if it's going to happen, it's when it happens. I mean, we don't have road service. It's a private road. So we don't have snow plows. We don't have salt, but yet you put a hazard right in front of us. That makes no sense. All right, well, thank you for the second chance to talk here. I wasn't sure about all that.
Mr. Younger, we possibly even set the record straight further. The developer did try to conform to these original plans and was prevented from doing so.
No. He had one guy up there with a backhoe. And I said, what's your job here? This is private property. I was told to put a lump of dirt here. I said, wait a minute, that's what you were told to do? And he was a nice enough guy. He was just doing what he was told to do. So that's not what we're doing. We're supposed to have a 4-to-1 slope with a stormwater berm and a guide rail. Boom, that's brilliant. Why wasn't it done? The builder did not offer. I even reached out to him a second time after meeting with Mr. O'Keefe and Mr. Parks and Tom. And I asked him to put together an engineered drawing of what he proposed, so I could see that it was legit. Even if it is on the road, I would rather have that. He never got back to me. Nobody got back to me. Nobody got back to me. I asked the builder to do this. He didn't do it. So for the record, he didn't do it. I don't believe he was going to do it.
Any other comments?
This is the first, I've lived in Franklin Park 20 years. First time I've ever come to a council meeting. I'm very disappointed. And how I'm disappointed is because something is being brought to your attention and nobody says anything except the solicitor. That has me baffled. My son, who will be out of the military in a few years, is planning on building a home on Carriage Lane. Right now, he has 2 children, my grandchildren, and yes, Jim's daughter is my daughter. If a problem occurs, you guys have been put on notice. I hope something doesn't happen to somebody on that road. But why can't somebody speak to the issue and say, we're going to take care of it? Again, you've disappointed me tonight.
Sorry to hear that, sir. And no, this is not our typical meetings, but as I said, 25 years of litigation. And this particular development has been discussed for over 3 years now or so. There's been multiple opportunities given. We've tried to facilitate an arrangement, but it has been an impossible situation. So come to this point, and there might be litigation afterwards, but there's nothing else for members of council to say. It has been vetted. It is a private road. We looked at it for 3 years. You're coming in at the end, sir. I know, but this is a private road. As Mr. Reed said, you have the ability to take actions on that private road if the neighbors all agree. Because it's a private road, the liability doesn't come to the borough. So that's the end of what we're gonna say. We did not create a hazard. The plan that we approved had work that was to be done within the carriage lane right of way, which they did not get permission to do. Doesn't matter what it says, it matters what was on the plan, what was referenced in the resolution, what came up. No, we approved one that said, this is what you want to do. You guys agreed, you and Mr. Hushenko at that meeting. Well, this is why we've been debating and discussing this. And it doesn't matter because there's no requirement that it be 3-1.
So you're not a builder.
We're not going to get into this again. Why are we talking about this? This is a private road issue that's been going on for years.
We're going to do it for and allow. You can't build something, go into somebody else's property. Turn down.
Because it was represented at that meeting that that was acceptable by Mr. Ashenko, who showed up. Okay.
He objected it.
Right. And our approval was limited to the property, whatever they were going to do with an arrangement with the neighbors on Carriage Lane was their own. That did not change ours or anything else. So your issue is with the developer. It is not with us. You know what? No.
If he would, if none of this would have gone, none of this would have gone. Whoever came in after 35 plans, and had the ramp out, and tested it out, roads here, and then forward for an 8-foot drop, you would have said, okay, that's.
Each plan goes through a long and arduous review process with the planning commission, with the engineers, with everybody else. And if it meets the code, it can be approved. It's not an 8-foot drop. I mean, are you saying that there is a line that goes through? We've all driven up there. We've all been there. I mean, I think you're embellishing this a bit, Mr. Reed. It's a gentle grade.
You would be comfortable with your.
No, I would get along with my neighbors to put in money for a guide rail if that is my concern. If I am so concerned that that's what's going to happen, if I'm on a private road, which I grew up on, not here, otherwise, my neighbors got along and they would address an issue. They wouldn't look to the borough to fix it for them.
To make it sound easy.
I know, that's the problem we've always had, that you have 18 different opinions as to what should be done, so we don't touch Carriage Lane.
Problem with Carriage Lane, and you.
We did not create anything. We had a property owner that prepared a plan that met the terms of the ordinance that was converting a commercial use, a nursery, into a cul-de-sac, and it was approved. Plan, and now whatever happens, if that's private property on those portions, if they change something or alter it, they can do so, as long as they're not touching the adopted right of way. That's the law and that's the way things go. I mean, I'm sorry, sir, you live on a private road that has different rules.
I think we have to adjourn this meeting. When you're accusing us of bad morals, it's time to adjourn. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
please?
Well, we're gonna
Thank you.
adjourn into continuation of the pre-meeting discussions and an executive session on personnel.
Okay, so moved.
Second.